So my name is Leo Perez. I work with Oklahoma State University. I am the program coordinator for a CDC-funded program called the High Obesity Prevention Program. I'm based out of Muskogee, and I've been working in the Muskogee area for I started as an intern back in May of 22, and I got kind of familiar with, I started working with local food systems, but more at a support level, like a support level organization, helping at the farmers markets, increasing their capacity. And that kind of drew me into kind of taking some photos at those farmers markets and doing some promotional work around the different nutrition incentive programs that they have going at the market, such as SNAP, Duo, Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, produce prescription programs such as OK Fresh, things of that nature. I am a registered dietitian as of recently, so that's kind of just a little bit of my background. I love to travel, hike, take photos, and creating digital content. So that's how I kind of got into this space and how I was invited into this to lead this session today. I wouldn't say I am a professional photographer, so I'll just put that out there. So this is going to be very rudimentary, but I think my photos have captivated or engaged a lot of folks. So I think that's why I've been invited to kind of lead this again. But yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. But I kind of wanted to gauge the audience and see where your interests are and see if there's any photographers in the room, anything like that. Anybody who enjoys likes taking photos. So we got one here. Yeah. Yes. So what kind of camera system do you have?
Canon 80D.
Canon? Yeah. What about, do you take photos?
Just my phone.
Just your phone? So I also just use an iPhone for most of my photography. I started looking at different camera builds, but for the most part, your phones have a decent camera that you can just shoot anywhere. They're portable. Whenever you get into getting a camera system, it's more things to load up and shoot. So they're very convenient to just take them out of your pocket, and they usually produce really good photos. I would just encourage anybody to just kind of play around with your cameras, to just get out there and take some photos. You'll be surprised sometimes what you could capture out there. So why does good photography matter? For reference, this photo was taken, it's kind of it looks a little overexposed right now. In my view, it doesn't look like that, but to me now on this big screen, it kind of does look a little bit overexposed. But, does it? Okay. So this, for reference, was at Focus Farms in Edmond. They're a newer operation, I believe. But I went out there and took some photos of their farm. They invited me to do that. So I got to do some of that. But it's good for storytelling. I mean, you guys, I don't know, how many of you guys are you guys producers? We got a few producers. So there's a lot of storytelling that you can do alongside with your photography. You could take it from farm to the farmer's market. Like you essentially have that whole process that you could capture in some photos. And that's really valuable. That also engages your customer base. So that's really good that you can show them, build trust through your different communication channels if you have any established social media and anything like that, or websites. It's just really good to extending your product story. It also showcases the quality of your product, and that's really good. We'll get into focusing in on the freshness of your products and stuff like that, getting those shots that really focus in on the quality of your products. It could attract more customers, and like I mentioned, it does enhance your social media engagement. If you guys are active on social media, it is a good graphic. It's going to draw more people in to see it. And Bailey will cover that more extensively here later. So I say focus on the freshness. This was also shot at Focus Farms, their broccoli plant. But like I said, I already kind of covered this. This is kind of like what you would consider a macro shot. So we're focusing on those vibrant colors, textures of the produce. You could kind of taste it off the screen is what we kind of want to aim for. So you could capture, highlight the details, and like I said, macro mode on most of our cameras on our phones have that automated. I'll show kind of like a screen share of what I did, so you guys can see what that icon looks like. I think it's like a tulip, but it'll pop up, and you can get something like this, where you can actually capture a lot of the detail that's there, and people like that. People like to see those details. I'll go in through like how I captured this really simply. It's not anything out of the realm of anything. So this is just at Muskogee Farmers Market. You could don't be afraid to get down and get low and just find an angle. You could get close up to it. This is shot in portrait mode, so you can see how it diffuses the background. And that's like an aesthetic thing, so it gives a lot of depth. There's more depth to the picture, so that's a really easy trick. This is with iPhones. I'm not really familiar with the Android systems, but I don't know if they have like an auto thing that messes with the depth of perception for that. But very simple. Don't be scared of just kind of just taking photos of your booths, of your layouts, of your products. I'd encourage you to just do it and get out there, take some photos, and you'd be surprised with what you get. Sometimes I'm just amazed of what my phone is already doing, and sometimes I'm like, there's no skill to this, right? I was like, I'm just taking photos, but there might be some enhancements that I do afterwards, but very lightly, like very light editing to get that. And you could just see how I just kind of scour the table and look for something that's kind of appealing to me. What's that?
Are those like tiny eggplants or what are these?
I think it's okra. Yeah, I think it's purple okra. Mm-hmm. So again, this is also showing an angle. So this shot, it's from above. It's really simple. It's really, really basic things, as opposed to coming it from a different angle. This seems to be a more creative angle. No, you're good. So you're fine. So this is just from above, below, giving different perspective to it. And then if I really wanted, so I just did this kind of in a hurry at the moment. I didn't like rearrange the vendor's product. I just, however they had it, it could have made more sense to have these things lined up a little bit more. But it was just what they had, and I just shot it how it was. But you could stage it a little bit more. I think one of my previous slides, I didn't cover it. I think I went off. But was using props. And I think there's a session on how to build out your market booth or tips around that. But if you have those kind of different items to stage things, it just adds another layer of aesthetic to your product, essentially. This is, again, just finding an angle. Like I said, you're going to kind of just see me scour for a shot that looks pleasing to me. I'm focusing on these tomatoes at Muskogee Farmers Market. Nothing too wild. There's a lot of color, and you can just see where I'm taking the shots. And it's not, to me, it's really not a whole lot to it. I just say take photos. The composition of it, there is some different tips that they give around composition, and I'll get into those in a little bit. But it's just playing around with what you have. Like I said, I kind of lean towards doing a lot of things with iPhone on portrait mode personally, but you could find that sometimes that's not the best thing if you don't really want to diffuse the background, if you really want to show something in focus, or I try to focus in on something typically. So that's how I go about that. And that's just covering that again. And showing how some of these shots were kind of acquired through that. What's up? Oh. I wanted to make this a little interactive at first, but I wasn't sure what I was going to have in front of me or anything like that to kind of show the different things. But it's,
the booth demo will be in here next.
oh, it was, oh, that's perfect.
Try to take some pictures.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that's good too is to kind of sometimes putting people in your shots. So that's, or just I mean, you kind of get into things with if they have media releases or not, but you try to not get like a full photo if they don't. Typically, that's best practice if you don't. But just some interactions at the market. Where they're handing money or something like that to bring some of that, what is it? So yeah, capturing people in interaction, telling a story, people interacting at your booth, picking up your produce, handing over money. So it just adds that human element to your photos. I already mentioned this, behind the scenes, you have that advantage if you're growing produce. You could pretty much give a storyline to that. And I think that really builds trust and connection with your customers. And faces matters. So I do a lot of community-based work. And I think a lot of those photos where I'm capturing the audience, they resonate more, I think. I get more engagement on those on social media because people like to relate. They like to kind of see them. They'll fan themselves if they're scrolling through social media. And they'll probably post and reshare or something like that. So it's very audience-centric, and if you could keep it some sort of element to that human aspect, it really helps. So these are just some sample photos from some of our programming at Head Starts. We conduct, you're okay. So it's perfect that you are. We conduct mobile markets at Head Starts with a lot of our partners, including En Route, Healthy Oklahomans Nutrition Alliance, Langston University, TSET Healthy Living Program. We all come together and put these mobile markets at these Head Start sites. And we've had this programming also with seniors in the past, where we're able to give them $15 of veggie bucks for them to shop through, and they can pick out their produce. But there's that element where you're capturing some of the folks that are there, picking out their produce. We make ours very, very aesthetically pleasing. We get all the props, all the baskets, all the signage, but you could kind of incorporate that into your own booths at the farmers market, if that's where you're selling out of. But yeah, just capturing those smiles, customer service. And this is just another sample shot of, little girl picking out her produce at our mobile market, and then, just capturing some smiles along the way too. And for those, we do actually have media releases, so you have to get those in advance. So editing, but don't overdo it. Don't put really harsh filters on things. Try to keep it as natural as possible. Sometimes I do run into the points, I've looked historically back at my photos where maybe I do oversaturate a tomato and they're super bright. And I was like, that's not realistic. Keep it real. Keep it real. But you could do very very light editing goes a long ways. Like I'll show in this little clip, I literally just used a small filter on these squash, but it was just to increase the, like there, it's called Vivid on iPhone. Very, like I don't go to the max. Like I tone it down a little bit so that it doesn't get too saturated, so it doesn't get too yellow too. But little things like that, messing with brightness, contrast, saturation, that's like the basicness that you can go into that, but nothing too wild. Here it's just capturing an interaction at the farmer's market, handing over produce. The different filters that iPhone has are sometimes enough, but you can take this outside of that and use other softwares and stuff. And I have messed with those, but for the purposes of this, I just kept it very basic, showing what's available on the phone already. What's up?
You know how iPhone, it has like the little like magic edit, What do you think of that?
The auto enhance.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a good just autocorrect that I do. I think I put that on there. Like auto enhance is just a button to quickly improve like any photo. I have like an eye for things like, and I feel like there's such ambiguity sometimes with photography. But I mean, everybody, it's kind of subjective. It's not really subjective because somebody can tell you. I think the majority of people in a room can say one of these is a good shot or not. I don't know, but I guess people just get keen to those details, and you might have a little bit of a different preference as to how you want your aesthetic to look.
The atmosphere, the attitude
Yeah.
you want to create. If it wants to be something
Moody.
dark or moody or
Yeah.
clean and crisp, and you can, and I don't know, I know with our Magic on my Motorola, you can do Android. You can do variations of that magic. And so not the extreme, but
Right, something.
Oh, yeah, like what you were just talking about on the flagrant.
Yeah, something more moderate, not anything too saturated or too unsaturated, but something in between. This is cauliflower. I'll show like one of the filters right here will kind of just what is it? It'll whiten it up or overexpose it, and you're like, okay, you don't do that. You don't do that to cauliflower. You don't do that to cauliflower. Don't do that to cauliflower. It's just gonna, yeah.
Make it look like lion's mane mushroom.
Yeah. But yeah, the last thing, this is a stock photo. So you could pull those too, and I think Bailey may hit on that a little bit on graphic designing for social. But there is sites too already that have stock photos. But for the purposes of this, you guys have a huge advantage. You have the product. I would showcase your product. But this one, I just did it as an ending slide to show that there is websites out there now or forever, even on Canva, which we're going to cover, where there's just a ton of stock photos already available. If you don't necessarily have the shot, but you have something similar, I mean, you couldn't use it, but I mean, you guys could try to capture some of it too. Is anybody here active on social? Several. What platforms generally? Facebook and Instagram. Any YouTubers? You got a YouTube channel? Okay, well that's good. But yeah, it's for the purposes of this, like it's a lot of storytelling that you can do with photos, and I think that was pretty much all I had on here. It was very simple, yeah.
You had something on there about stories and versus posts.
Uh-huh.
What is I guess I don't really understand how people use those differently.
Yeah.
And then there's the reels as well.
Yes.
Can you give your
Yeah. My impression of it. I love to reel personally for the purposes of showing like an extended, I guess, extended storyline, I would say. Like for my travels, I like to clip a lot of things and put it together at the end. That's a good way, but reels, let's see. But as far as stories, a lot of people post to a story generally kind of real time generally, but I am the worst at that. I'm the worst at that. I sometimes have a backlog of things and I'm not quick enough to just do the day-to-day, put a story up. I think you can use it however you want. A post is more permanent, I would like.
Yeah, stories are only 24
Yeah.
hours, so it is a little bit more real time. For example, we were on the farm tour this morning. I posted a bunch of stories on the OLAC page while we were at the tour. And then once we got on the bus, I was able to get those together and make an actual post that'll stay on the page. So just little things like that, like while you're in the moment, you could pull out your phone and take a quick story, post it, and then it's up there for 24 hours.
Like if you're at a market, I would definitely post a story. So then that way people know if you're active, and so then it shows that you're active, and they're more likely, like it pops up, especially if you're, you know, one of their top friends. Like the people who you regularly watch their stories, they're regularly at the front of. And so if you're at a market, you should definitely post on a story. Or if you're like in the garden, right? We only see like pretty pictures, right? Nobody wants to take that ugly moment. But if you're out there and if there's like something going on, make a story real fast.
Yes, people are eating that kind of content up a lot.
I'm going to talk about some social media tips, ways you can kind of improve your engagement on your page. And then we'll do a quick Canva demo to show you how you can make some graphics by yourself. How many of you heard about this event on Facebook? Okay, quite a few. So you probably saw a Canva graphic on Facebook that was posted by me. So I'm going to go over how you can set up some posts just like that. And let's start out with our planning phase of things. So you always want to start with a plan and kind of make sure you have all these things in check before you start actually posting. So first things first, determine which social media channel you will use. So I heard some of you use Facebook, some use Instagram. If you didn't know, you can actually connect those two. So you can connect an Instagram to your Facebook page or vice versa to post on both platforms at the same time. Some of you use YouTube, some might use TikTok to make videos. Those are all good things. I'm really going to focus in on Facebook and Instagram today, but obviously more is better. So you always want to make sure that your profile is complete. So if you have a business page, which I would highly recommend for your farm, even if it's a small farm and you only serve your neighbors, go ahead and make a business page. Maybe you'll start growing and then grow into other communities. On your business page, you want to have a bio, just a quick summary. It could be one sentence, maybe two, about your business. And then always want to add your business hours. If you sell at certain farmers markets, you'll want to have that listed on your page and your bio. And then want to have your contact info up there as well. So if people find a post from your page in the wild and want more info, they're able to click onto your business page and see all that right there at the top. Next step is finding your marketing voice and tone. So for a lot of farmers markets, it's going to be a pretty friendly, casual approach. Don't need to be too rigid with your words on social. Don't need to use high vocabulary. It can be pretty simple and friendly, easy for people to understand. Even if they don't know what you're doing really, they should be able to get it from that post that they see. Next, you'll want to determine your posting schedule. So I'm really going to hit this home in this presentation, but consistency is key with social media. It actually allows the algorithm to pick up your posts a little bit more. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this algorithm that's out there that no one really understands. But I can definitely say that posting consistently helps you show up in more places in front of more people. So you can start with something pretty easy to maintain. Maybe it's just posting a weekly update. Maybe it's Sunday afternoon. You've had a busy market week and you're just chilling on the couch at the end of the week and you want to post, hey, this is everything I did this week. These are the farmers markets I sell at. These are the products I have right now. Just getting something up like that every week will really help people engage with your business and help find you at different markets as well. And then finally, just start posting and get to know your audience. You're always going to have some comments, reactions on Facebook can tell you a lot about what people think on your post or on your page. And Facebook and Instagram make it pretty easy to see the metrics on the post. For one thing, you can see the likes or shares or comments, but you can also dive deeper. I recommend using a desktop to look into the Meta Business Suite, and then you can see a breakdown of all of your posts on your page and kind of see what's performing higher than others, and maybe what you might want to continue. So that's my last point, gauge and engage. So definitely try out new ideas. Don't be scared to post something that you've never posted before, but also make sure that you are keeping your audience in mind, keeping their questions in mind, and trying to find answers to those through your posts. So this is a super simple social media plan, but this is what most of mine look like. So I'm just laying out when I'm going to post these things. I'll go ahead and pre-write the captions so that I can just copy and paste that when I'm ready to post. And then if I want to attach a link, I might do that and just have that documented on there as well. Sometimes that column looks more like budget. If I'm putting up some ads on Facebook, I kind of want to make sure I have my budget in line before I start posting those. But super simple things. So let's say we're selling at a farmer's market this Saturday on the 14th. On the 12th, today, Thursday, I might post a picture of my produce and say, hey, I'm going to be at the farmer's market this weekend. This is what I've got. This is the hours of the farmer's market. Always good to include location as well. And then I have example post, let's say we're day of at the farmer's market. We just set up our booth and we take a quick picture and want to post it. We already have a caption ready to go saying, we're at the farmer's market today, come find your favorite fresh produce. And then always fun to add in some things about if you accept nutrition program benefits, that always helps broaden your reach on social as well. Or even just saying, we take cash and card. Even that will help people understand your business a little bit better and feel more prepared to see you at the market. And then let's say you're done with that market, it's a Sunday, and you're getting ready for your next Tuesday market. So you say, thanks everyone who stopped by our booth. Just so you know, we'll be at another market this week on Tuesday. And now we'll get a little bit more into advertising on social media. So again, this is Facebook and Instagram specific. But have any of you noticed the little boost post button on your page, little blue button on there? So don't be scared to click on that and check it out. It's not going to automatically take money from you. You can even just click and look at the options you have for setting up the ad on Facebook. And your budget can be pretty small for boosted posts. I've set some up for like $10. You could even go lower than that if you're posting like one day in advance. You could do like a $5 boosted post and still get some more reach out of that. It's very customizable, so you can set your budget, you can set the time frame of the ad, and then you can actually target pretty specifically. You can target by location. So for example, for this workshop, I targeted Muskogee with a 20-mile radius, and that's just a little slider on Facebook. When you're setting up the ad, you type in Muskogee, Oklahoma, then you can slide the radius if you want to reach 50 miles out, if you want to reach 5 miles out. It's pretty customizable. You can also put in zip codes if there are certain zip codes or cities that you serve. You can break it down by that. And then something I find really cool to try with targeting is targeting by interest. So many of you have a Facebook, even if you don't have a business Facebook, and you put in your interests. So how many people are interested in gardening on Facebook, for example? I'm sure it's a lot of us. You can actually go in on the ad side of things and say, I want to target people in Muskogee in a 20-mile radius who are interested in gardening. So then you know you're reaching your audience that you want. Another popular one that I like to use is farm to table. There's a ton of people that mark that as their interest on Facebook, and that'll really help you show up in front of those people. You can also target by age range. Don't really see a need to do this with farmers market specific posts, but if you wanted to, or if you're hiring for something and you want to hit a specific age range or even education level, you can look for that in the targeting and target by those. And then you can even do different languages. So if you're bilingual, if you speak Spanish, you can set up ads in a different language as well. And so boosted posts are pretty easy to set up and very customizable. You can also stop them or pause them at any time. So if you pause it, it'll stop spending your money, and you can always restart it whenever you're ready. And then you can also stop them entirely at any time. So some other ways to boost your engagement, and these are what we call organic, so they're not advertising. It's just things you can do on your page that will naturally boost your engagement. So like I said, share information about your products, where you sell, get some good photos at the market, talk about nutrition programs. We always want to get more seniors shopping at the market. Say you accept the senior benefit so that they're aware of that. And then, focus in on vegetable and farm photos. Those are always popular. And we all know that shopping local is pretty trendy right now, but that's a good thing for us. We can embrace it, and we can post about being local and having local produce, and people will eat it up. So you can also share posts from your farmer's market page. I would highly recommend this because this is really no work on your part besides pressing the button and resharing it. So it's kind of content that's pre-made for you if your farmer's market posts every week their hours or pictures of the vendors. Share that on your page and say, hey, come find our booth. We're in this area, or we've got this week. And that'll increase engagement for both your page and your farmer's market page. So always helpful. Again, you want to aim to post consistently. Try to check in when you get to the farmer's market, even if you're not putting up an actual post, just checking in and saying, I'm at the farmer's market right now. People on your feed will see that, and they might come and see you. And then obviously you can post your products throughout the week, and then post the hours and location of the farmer's market. That's always a big thing. So if you don't know, I do ads for Oni Project on the different farmers market pages, and we get a lot of feedback, a lot of comments from people that kind of guide our graphics for the future. So let's say you posted something and you say, hey, I'm at this farmers market Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then you're flooded with comments that are like, where's the market at? Okay, now I know next time I'm gonna include the address in my post. So just little things like that. Make sure that you're actually reading your comments and kind of taking that feedback to make it better. And then, like I said, the algorithm rewards consistency. So the more content you've got up, the more it's going to be in front of people. And that's just how it works. Last thing, I always respond to comments and messages to our page. Even if you're just saying, thumbs up, I like it, I like your message, please come. Those are all little things that help your audience know that you're actually listening to them and that you see their feedback or their questions. Helps them stay engaged. Okay, now I'm going to hop over to Canva and we can make some quick graphics together. So how many of you already use Canva? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay. So Canva is a free tool for graphic design. You just go to canva.com, and then it's got lots of awesome templates for social media specifically. So let's say we're going to create a new design. And you can see here if you're on Instagram or Facebook, they've got templates that are the exact right size for Instagram. So if you've ever made a post on Canva and you used a PDF document sized thing to make it, and then you tried posting it on Instagram, you might see that half of it is cut off, or you have to crop it weird to get all your info in there. So you can actually come into Canva and say, oh, I'm gonna make an Instagram post today. It'll give you this nice blank canvas, if it loads. Okay, here we go. So let's say we started with this blank canvas here, and we want to make a graphic for the farmer's market. We have this handy design tab over here with lots of different templates that you can use and then just adjust to fit your needs. So I'm going to search farmer's market. we can just look at different things here and kind of play around and see what we like. So you can always click on something, it'll automatically load on that page that we just made. And then all of this text is editable. Oops. Sorry guys, thanks for your patience. So we will try, let's pull this one in. And so you can see, like Leo said, Canva has a ton of stock footage. If you just can't get a good picture of your produce that week, totally fine to use what Canva has on board. Although I do agree that personal photography is always the best, no matter your skill level. But from here, pretty simple to edit this. It's just a bunch of text boxes. So if you're familiar with even like Word documents and PowerPoints, it has that same type of feel. So I am pretending I'm at the OLAC Farmers Market, which doesn't exist, but I wish it did. And then, okay, it's a little bit too big. You just scale it back like that. So all these text boxes are very movable. And then now I'm off center. I'm just gonna pull it to the middle, and Canva has these pretty nice guidelines. You can see that purple line down the middle. It'll tell you when things are centered, and then you can also adjust it to get like equal spacing between what you're saying there. And then I wanna say, find our booth at the OLAC Farmers Market. And then you can adjust the hours down here. Let's say we're working with Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can put in the address. And then pretty handy, it'll highlight typos just like if you were working in a Word document. So you can always go in and adjust little things like that. It'll call it out for you, so it's pretty nice. And then obviously you can delete things that you don't feel like you need to use. If you don't have a website to point to on there, just go ahead and delete that. Another handy thing are these little picture frames that you can put into your graphics. And those are also fully customizable. So even though we used a template, I can come in to my photo uploads, and this works just like other places where you would upload a photo, upload your files from here, and just pull them in. You can also do the drag and drop if you're a fan of that. But I can just pop some photos in from over here in my little photo library. Let's say I really want to crop in a little bit tighter on those carrots there. I'll just hit edit image in this corner while I have that image selected. And then I can mess with the cropping, move it around, if I want to zoom in a little bit more. And then Canva also has some pretty handy built-in photo editing tools. So I'm a big fan of their auto adjust. Just go ahead and click it. So it made the carrots a little bit brighter, made the greens a little bit prettier. Again, it looks a little bit washed out on this screen, but it's looking pretty good down here. And then you can do the same thing over here. Let's say I really want to zoom in on these lovely vendors. You can do that here. And then you are all set. If you want to add something else, you totally can. But if you want to just leave it at that, you come up here to the share button and then hit download. And here's where you have a lot of different options. So we're working with an Instagram post. I would download that as a PNG. You can also download it as JPEG. Or if you're making a flyer or something, you can always switch to PDF and download it as a PDF and then print it out. That's actually how these programs were made. They were made on Canva, and then we just print the PDF. So same thing if you are starting from scratch and you say, I really want to emphasize that my booth accepts SNAP benefits. I haven't seen very many SNAP customers in the past few weeks, and I really want to get the word out there. So you take a picture of your booth with your SNAP sign showing very beautifully. You can set that as the background on here, and then it's a little bit out of the frame. So same thing, I'm going to go up here, edit the image, and just move it into frame. Maybe I want to zoom in a little bit more. Just make it fit really nice on that square. But that's not where I want to stop, because then I would just post the picture. So I want to add a little bit of text onto the graphic as well. I'm going to go up here to the elements section, and this will show you different types of shapes or even illustrations that you can add to your post. So if it will load, there are some nice squares, circles, lines, if you want that on there. One of my favorite things to use for like text is this little rounded circle. I just think it looks pretty nice anywhere on the image. And honestly, not a fan of that yellow shade, but I can always come up here and change it. And what I find pretty handy in creating more cohesive graphics is this little photo colors section. So we'll give that a second to load. But this is going to pull out different colors that are in the photo that I'm using. So it just merges everything very nicely. Let's say I want to use this green, and then I want my text box to be a little bit bigger because this is Instagram on a pretty tiny screen. So let's make this a little bit bigger. And then I want to add some text. So hop over to the text section. You can add a text box, or you can use this little brand kit section to add different types of text like pretty easily. Again, everything's very customizable once it's on the graphic, but I like to use the title one and then see kind of how it's fitting on the page if I need to make it bigger. And again, I'm gonna say I'm at the OLAC Farmers Market. But then I might think, okay, I kind of want to make my brand a little bit more cohesive. So I'm gonna hop back up to the graphic that I just made, and I'm gonna grab this text box. I'm just gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna bring it back down to this graphic and paste. Now I can delete this one, and then just drag this up here into place. And let's say that black might be a little bit hard to read on the green. You can always come and change your font colors as well. And then just play around with the sizing, play around with where everything lays on the graphic. I always use the guides just to make sure, for example, just now, don't want to be a little bit off center from that text box when I can just snap it into place with Canva's help. So I'll move that around. And then I'm gonna say, okay, I already have the hours on here. I'm just gonna grab those two things, and you just hit the shift key if you want to group multiple text boxes in one. And then same thing, go ahead and copy it. Bring it down here. And I'll move it up here and say, okay, that's a little bit hard to read. Let's go with white text for that as well. And then let's also make it bold. So you'll notice up here, it's a pretty textbook text editor, just like you'd see in other software. And then we can play around, make that a little bit bigger as well. So now we've got another post ready to go. Just go up to share, download, and then it's ready to go for you. And then if you're wanting to, like someone mentioned, Instagram stories, and it's like, why do I need to post on stories? You know, there's no reason besides posting in real time. Stories are actually very, very helpful as ads, especially nowadays. If you're posting a story and then boosting it, that will actually show up in multiple different placements, including in Reels. So while you're scrolling in Reels, sometimes you might notice a random ad pops up. That's actually a story ad that was posted that shows up in lots of different places. So I have a little story template ready to go. And the way I created this was exact same. I just went over here and said, I want a new design, create new, and then I pulled Instagram story. And this is what it looks like, again, when you first open it up. And this was another one I wanted to make just totally from scratch. Let's say it's Sunday afternoon. I just have some time on my hands and I want to create a little story to thank people for coming to the market. I could upload a picture from the day of. Let's see if this will load. So that just pops the picture on there. All I did was click on it, and it's not quite showing up. Okay. So yeah, all I did was click on that photo, it pops it into the graphic for you, and then you can go down here and set that image as the background to have it take up that full space. Again, I might want to crop it a little bit more so that you can really see what's going on the table over here. And then I'm also going to adjust the colors just to make things pop a little bit more. And even if you click on auto adjust and you think, whoa, that's like way too saturated, you can always come down here and play around with the vibrance, saturation, brightness, all those things that Leo mentioned. And then I want to put a text box on here, but I don't want to use that same text box that I've been using. I want to make it look a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is put a little circle on here. Going to change the color. I like to just stick to the photo colors. I feel like it makes everything look pretty nice and cohesive. And then I'm going to do something not super normal. I'm going to actually crop half of the circle out, just to make a little bit of a different design. And then I'm going to say, you can type in here just like we did on the last one, or you could open up that post that you just made and say, hey, I really like this font. I kind of think I want that to be my brand font and one that I use across all my graphics. So this is in a different file completely on Canva, but you can still go and copy and paste things across different files. So I'll paste in that little OLAC farmer's market, but I want it to say thank you. And then we'll make that a little bit bigger. And obviously you can just type on stories different text, but this is a way for you to just make a little bit more professional looking graphic. So I don't just want to say thank you in this post, I also want to let people know where my next farmer's market is going to be. So again, I'm going to stick with our brand, go copy and paste that text from over there, and then it needs to be a little bit bigger. And you can always type in the font size over here as well. And let's say we want to tell people that our next market is Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the, let's see, I'm just thinking of some Oklahoma City addresses here. But yeah, just get all that info on there. You might want to put the name of the market on there. And this just makes it a little bit easier for people to read. You're not just writing text over the picture, but you have it on this nice little background, and just makes it easier to share that info. And again, you can play around with centering the text. You can group this text and make it bigger or smaller together. And then it's the same process for exporting this type of graphic. Just again, go up here to share and then hit download. So I'm gonna hop back over to this presentation. And just a summary of some of those tips I just gave. Really want to take advantage of those free templates and illustrations. So I didn't go too deep into the illustration part of things, but there are like little hand-drawn veggies on Canva that you can pop into your graphics. Really fun things that you can make pretty graphics with. You also want to keep the text pretty concise on graphics on social media, because you still have that caption area where you can go a little bit deeper into detail. So really just focus in on the necessary information, hours, address. If you want to put your logo on there, that's always a good thing. And then when you're posting on Instagram, keep the focus on those photo-heavy graphics. So like the ones I made with the big photo background, those perform really well on Instagram. And then listen to your audience feedback, adjust as needed. Like I said earlier, if people keep asking what your hours are, go ahead and post it on your graphic next time. And then always be creative, do what feels right for your brand. You don't have to stick to a template. I usually go off templates pretty much and just do what I feel will best display the information. And then really just want to hit home that consistency outweighs virality when you're building an engaged audience. So it might be awesome to get like a cool video up and you get 500 likes one time and you feel on top of the world. But if those aren't people that are going to return and build up your page, comment on your posts, like them, share them with their friends, that's not really an engaged audience. So you really want to post consistently, let people know that you see their comments, and just keep going. So these are those finished graphics, looking pretty nice. And then this is how it might look on social media. So I went ahead and paired it up with those captions that we had wrote in our social media plan. So 2 days before the market, I'm gonna post this one and say, hey, come stop by the market. This is what I've got. Here's some pictures. And then I have the market information very clear and concise on that graphic. This second one right here is just showing the different spots that boosted posts can show up in. So I set all of this up on Facebook, but it's still going to show my ad on Instagram. Since Facebook is connected to Instagram under Meta, it'll show on that platform even if you don't have an Instagram account. It'll still show on Instagram. So that's an example. This first one is just like a regular Facebook post. That second one is in stories. So if you're clicking through your friend's stories, sometimes you see an ad pop up there. That's where that would show up if you set up that boosted post. And then this one down here is showing it from the Instagram Explore page, just how that would look in an ad format. And then this last one shows, again, how it looks on Instagram stories, and then how it would look in an Instagram Reel format. So you can still see the whole graphic, you get the message, and it shows up in all these different spots. And that is all I've got. Do I have any questions? Yes.
When you did the boost post and you said it could be like as low as $10 at a time, how often is that posted? Is that a one-time thing? It shows up one time, or what is that?
It can show up multiple times. I will say to really get it showing up multiple times for different people, I would have a little bit higher budget, but $10 can get it in front of someone at least twice. So basically what it looks like is, so I set up that first post on my page. So everyone who's my Facebook follower sees that post automatically, but I want to reach new audiences. So I hit boost post. That's going to show it not only to my Facebook followers, but to anyone on Facebook who might be in that set area where I'm targeting it.
Like miles.
Yeah.
But can you, like, is there option to pay more and it show up more, or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I want, because I've never gone that far.
Mhm.
So like, I don't want to pay money, you know, I don't want it to.
Yeah.
I are like that, but I hate clicking on something and they're like, take my money. So,
Yeah, and what's really cool is actually on Facebook, when you put your budget in, so let's say you put $10, it'll show you an estimated reach. So it'll say, okay, you put in $10.
do it once for a little bit and just play with it. Right?
Yes, yeah.
I've never done it because I was afraid to.
Yeah, and then you can always scale up that budget and kind of see where you might hit your target.
Okay.
But yeah, any other questions? Okay, I think we're about ready for the next one.